Welcome back to another episode of the Tacho Show. So, we finally got Ike's favorite Catboy as an alt. I don't know why it took this long. I always personally thought Ranulf was a pretty popular character, so I could never understand why Lethe was the one to get all the alts. Now, sure, I like Lethe as well, but Ranulf has way more of an important role to the story than Lethe does, and he's even the guy who figures out the Black Knight's secret and figures out his real identity. So, I don't know why Ranulf took this long to get alts, but it's a pretty good one. So, he's in pirate attire by the looks of it. He's got a hook for a hand there, and it's pretty much good artwork overall. Not really any bad things to say about it. So there we go for his Halloween artwork. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at his stats now, and we'll break him down, give some builds, and a little bit of analysis. So stat-wise, we've got 41 HP, 46 attack, 48 speed, 36 defense, and 24 res. He's got a grand total of 195 overall, which could be 1 point higher. I would have preferred if he had 196 so he could jump into the same bin as Panette, but unfortunately not. Also, we lack the Distant Counter Beast Seal at the moment, so whenever he gets that, his score will be a little better for Arena. I guess since I'm talking about that now, we might as well just jump ahead. So this is where Ranulf would score for Arena. He is a stand-in for Elm as the proxy for the moment, because they don't have Ranulf in the updated score calculator yet. So 762 scoring. Like I said, he doesn't have Distant Counter Beast, which would certainly help. But yeah, outscored by Panette, outscored by Marnie, and score ties with Cyril, who is a goddamn range unit. So, yeah, kind of an RIP there in terms of scoring. But then again, Ranulf can become a range unit now with the style from Uma Musume Lin. So, Cyril isn't walking around as the only ranged option anymore. You would have to have Lin at plus 10, though, for her to be arena viable. But you get what I'm trying to say, though, right? So now we have range units who aren't even supposed to be range units running around in the meta. So, yeah, there we go for his stat-wise and scoring. And then he does have a super boon on speed, which is great. Pretty much the super boon of choice. He does have one in res as well, but that's kind of whatever. Okay, so his preference weapon, Nocturnal Fang. Gives him Kanto Rem +1 with a min of 2 and -1 special trigger. Both very good effects. And then for allies in 3 rows of 3 columns centered on him, he's giving attack and speed up 5 as a drive, as well as 7 true damage and 7 true damage reduction. Pretty good. I mean, similar to Seteth, or, Seteth, he doesn't give damage reduction overall. He just gives it on the first attack and the enemy's brave attack. This is just true DR all throughout the enemy's barrage of whatever amounts of attacks they're going to be doing. If they have potent, if they have brave, like you're just getting 7 flat DR on all of it. And likewise, 7 DR on all of your attacks as well. So overall, it's a pretty good support. And then he also neutralizes guard on the enemies that are inflicting it on him. So yeah, pretty good stuff as a drive support for everyone's going to eat well from having Ranulf on the team, which is great. All right, then also if he's transformed or his HP is over 25% at the start of combat, then he gets a bonus to all stats equal to the number of allies in 3 rows of 3 columns centered on him times 3, plus 5 with a max of 14. Then he deals 20% bonus damage based on speed, 20% DR based on speed, and then neutralizes guard on himself in combat. And then also, if decreasing the speed difference necessary to make a follow-up attack by 25 would allow him to trigger a follow-up, then he gets Potent Follow X%, and it's pretty much the standard Potent Follow percentages here. If you can perform a follow-up and hit twice, then X is 80, otherwise X is 40. Or no, if you cannot perform a follow-up, X is 80. If you can, then X is 40. So, worst case scenario, it's a bonus attack at 40% damage, which is pretty sucky. But it is what it is. I mean, Potent is still a pretty good effect, so we'll take it regardless. And then he has your standard Cavalry Beast transformation effect. As far as passives go, we've got Astra. We got Beast Agility 3 and then Speed Tactic 3. Certainly, Beast Agility 3 is a nice fodder skill for a Tempest Trial unit, so we will definitely take that. Now, as far as comparisons go with Ranulf and the next closest Beast Cavalry unit that they released for free. So we have him over here. He's got a 195 BST. Stats are right there. And then the most similar one to him, which would be Speedy, would be the Halloween Yarn that we got last year. So Ranulf's got 1 more HP. Yarn has 1 more attack. And then Ranulf has a considerable amount more speed, 3 more. They have the same defense, and then Ranulf has 3 more points of res. So pretty obvious where all the bonus stats on Ranulf went to on his BST. I believe Yarn gets 5 extra flowers, though, so that is one thing to keep in mind, but it's not really going to amount to the speed difference there. So overall, Ranulf, I would say, is certainly better. Also, I do like his preference weapon a lot better than Yarn's, too. Now, Yarn is red, though, so maybe different color matchups might matter. But overall, though, Ranulf compares pretty favorably to his contemporaries. So there we go over there. And now let's go ahead and move on to the builds up next. So we got to go with the custom unit builder for this because they didn't upgrade the regular unit builder to include Ranulf yet. But his weapon, as we said, is a pretty good preference weapon. For the assist, you want to go for pretty much whatever. If you're running him in arena, you want a high-scoring assist. So go for a double rally or a rally up or harsh command. But everywhere else, you're free to run movement assists like reposition or swap or whatever you want to go for. So there we go there. Nimble Beast is one of his 2 really good options for special, the other being Galeforce Mist. So Nimble Beast gives him non-pierceable DR and some bonus damage. Obviously very good. Attack and Speed XL, pretty hard to argue with. There were a couple of other options I was considering, like Fortune was one to allow him to transform for free. But it's real hard to argue with the non-pierceable DR you get from Excel. So I would say that's overall probably his best choice. And then we got Momentum 4, which is pretty evenly matched with another beast skill we're going to look at on the second build. Bestial Agility 4, I think, or just Bestial Agility. Yeah, they're pretty evenly matched. I mean, each one has advantages over the other. Bestial Agility gives you null follow-up, but Momentum 4 gives you potentially more damage if you're moving more spaces, with the maximum being 4 for this guy if he's got the Sigurd Ring. So that would be 16 points of true damage from Momentum, and then it gives you the special jump, so you can just activate Nimble Beast right away. But the bad thing about Momentum is that it doesn't really work with Galeforce Mist, so yeah, we're free to run Bestial Agility on the other build, and it also gives you null follow-up, which is better than the bonus guaranteed follow-up from Momentum 4 there. And then Attack Speed Outcry Dull is also pretty evenly matched, believe it or not, with Dark Beast Force. Now, the advantages are going to differ. Attack and Speed Outcry Dull gives you just a ridiculous amount of damage. It gives you like a clash bonus and then bonus damage based on the amount of allies on the map that have the Nullify Foe bonus effect, which this skill is giving as a support at start of turn, along with attack and speed up 6. So it's just a really crazy C skill overall. And in terms of just doing the most amount of damage, this is probably the best build. Sly Echo is pretty much the preferred Echo skill. If you're only going to give him one Echo skill, I would say go for that one. But on the other build we're going to look at, Lull Echo is also a good option. And then Attack and Speed Clash as the Sacred Seal, but you could also try Blade Session, I guess. It's a little less consistent because you got to act with other allies first. But overall, though, I think Attack Speed Clash is probably better. And unfortunately, I don't think there's a way to put Emblem Rings on the custom builder. Or at least if there is, I couldn't figure out how. So as far as what Emblem Ring you want to give to Ranulf, I would say definitely the standout options are the Sigurd Ring, the Erica Ring for the Brave Attack, and then also you could go for the Micaiah Ring so he can pop an assist and then move again, which could artificially extend the amount of reach even further than what Sigurd Ring does. And then there's also the Corin Ring too, if you want him to set up tiles. I mean, the Corin Ring is really ridiculous, right? Like giving ice tile support and also Kanto control support with the Divine Vein green that it sets up. That's like one thing I was wondering how they were going to do, like apply Kanto control to units that are non-infantry. I was expecting it to maybe be an Echo skill one day. I was not expecting Kanto control to be a freaking Emblem ring. So, obviously, anyone is going to work really good with that Corrin ring. But, yeah, if you're more primarily focused on this guy doing damage, then I would say Sigurd ring and also Erica ring would be your best bets. Okay, and now for the second build, we're going for Galeforce Mist this time, which all the rings I mentioned before will apply to this build as well. I guess also the Marth ring too, so you can get a more consistent Galeforce Mist. It's not too hard for him though, because he nullifies guard and he's got -1 special trigger. So he should be able to proc Galeforce Mist not too difficultly. Is that even a word? Difficultly? Without much difficulty is what I was trying to say. Yeah, so there we go there. I already mentioned Excel was probably his best overall A skill, but there are other options too. You could try Sly Swift Sparrow, which could be an option. Flared Sparrow I also really like on Galeforce builds, but unfortunately Flared Sparrow is not going to have the same impact in combat as Excel is with the amount of true damage and true DR you're getting. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Like I said, Bestial Agility pairs up pretty favorably against Momentum 4. Like, there's use cases for both, and I wouldn't really say one is outright better than the other. So, either or is fine, but like I said, Bestial Agility does work with Galeforce Mist, while Momentum doesn't. And then Dark Beast Force, which has Feud on the enemies. Now, it's hard to really quantify how much that's going to amount to. It could amount to absolutely nothing if the opponents don't have supporters on the team. But more often than not, they will. It's definitely going to be more likely. And not only will they, they're probably going to have multiple units that are doing drive supports or drive debuffs to allies and enemies. So being able to use Feud is really strong. It also gives you a flat 5 DR. And it neutralizes the penalties on Ranulf himself. So Dark Beast Force could be a really good C-skill option if you don't want to go for just the outcry, dull amount of damage you're getting there. And then once again, Attack and Speed Clash for the seal, but Blade Session could be an option too. And if we ever get it, then Disencounter Beast for Arena would be good too. So yeah, there you guys go for Ranulf. Overall, I would say he's definitely worth building. Just the drive support that he's giving with the 7 DR, 7 flat DR, or the 7 true damage and the 7 DR, and then the drive stats. Nullifying guard is pretty nice too. So yeah, he can certainly find his way on a lot of teams. He's not too shabby in combat. He's got 20% bonus damage based on speed, and then also DR based on speed as well. So yeah, just overall very good unit. Very nice Tempest Trial prize, and a very long-awaited character getting it too. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below, and I will catch y'all again on the flip side.